Make gardening a breeze with the Grow Box, only at shop.real.video.
The other attacks were probes. Even Fox News, CNN admit, oh, it's UN run. The UN Refugee High Court says that there are no borders except at the UN. There are no walls except at the UN and Nancy Pelosi's house. And it's coming out of the Washington Times, you name it. Even in Texas, they are sending voter registration and absentee ballots to illegal aliens. Citizen is already checked for them, and they are voting Democrat in mass. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on air 23 years, and I've never seen anything like it. It's even worse than the implosion of Europe and the Middle East pouring in our UN direction. We have just witnessed a giant UN army smash Mexican defenses and overrun their wall and gates, flying the Honduran, the Guatemalan, the Brazilian, the Venezuelan flags, screaming, we are coming to take the North, with the leftist and the UN directing it. It's in Fox News, AP, that the UN is in full command, directing them and marching them at the United States. Holy Toledo, Batman. This is unbelievable. I'm going to post these live videos to Infowars.com, and when I say you better email them and you better text them and you better get them out, you better tell folks about the station we're watching or listening to. They just show a little girl who was never taken from her mom, who her mom brought her over 100 miles of deadly desert and should be arrested, coming in illegally, never even separated, to show Trump over the little girl. That's the calling card. You don't stop open borders. The left says, we want ICE abolished. We don't want any border. My God, we need a moat with alligators. We need a 100-foot wall. We need helicopters. I mean, this is the United Nations. It'd be one thing if a bioweapon got released or there was a plague or everyone's starving down there and then they came north. It'd be a big enough problem, but we'd treat it humanitarian. This is United Nations directed. Everywhere they go, they live behind big walls. They have slaves trimming their yards literally with scissors. Sex slavery, all of it. And it's the admitted UN plan to smash national sovereignty with the 10 million Islamics they brought in already into Europe and red carpeted them everything free. And now they've got, I mean, they kept saying 2,000. I looked at the numbers. It's tens of thousands. And this is just the phalanx, the attack formation, breaking down the walls, breaking down the border, breaking down the gate, flooding in. Thousands of U.S.-bound illegals storm Guatemala-Mexico border under UN command. Video. So let you know you heard it here first. This is UN directed publicly. It's an invasion. The United States has already been invaded by the United Nations in probing attacks. This is the next big push. Europe, Hungary, Austria have declared emergencies, manned their troops, fortified fences, because a wave even bigger started hitting this month as well. Good God. And the same demoralizers are teaching your 5-year-old son they're a girl and your 5-year-old daughter they're a boy. This is psychological warfare, big tech, the big banks, the UN. This is the robber baron war. They don't want a first country status. They don't want middle classes. They don't want a first world. They want slaves and elites. And there is the giant beginning army marching in with pride to seize the wealth of the North, to seize the wealth at the UN. The real colonizers have now reversed the colonization and said, you will colonize the North, but you're not going to colonize anything. Once you get here, you'll be put in squalor and controlled as a weapon system of the Democrats, indoctrinated and prepared for political control and conquest. This is the new war. This is the 21st century attack. This is the United Nations invasion of North America with Mexican defenses completely smashed, saying that they would send troops down to stop it. Unless the United States invades Mexico, this will intensify, or we must mobilize the Army, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the local police departments, everything, and start cracking down on this invasion. The United Nations has officially invaded Mexico and has an army marching north of tens of thousands. The other attacks were probes. Even Fox News, CNN admit, oh, it's UN-run. The UN Refugee High Court says that there are no borders except at the UN. There are no walls except at the UN and Nancy Pelosi's house. And it's coming out of the Washington Times, you name it. That even in Texas, they are sending voter registration and absentee ballots to illegal aliens. Citizen is already checked for them. And they are voting Democrat in mass. So Mexico deployed officers to its southern border to block migrants headed to the U.S. They overran, pulled the gates down, and flooded in incredibly dramatic footage. This is not, see, everything's been a buildup. Like first they ban me, then they ban everybody. Or first they, you know, have smaller migrant caravans and getting on the trains and coming up, and Mexico turns a blind eye, and now it's tens of thousands, UN-controlled, organized officially. This is the takeover operation. And again, they just think now, well, go to sleep. It's no big deal. No, this is the UN. This is George Soros. This is the UN refugee councils and all these other groups. Here it is, Fox News. U.S. and Mexican officials have agreed on a plan to handle the approaching migrant caravan making their way up from Central America. A senior administration official told Fox News. Under the deal, which was developed over the course of several months, Mexico requested the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees establish shelters along the southern border with Central America, which, of course, they double-crossed, massed their force, and invaded. Mexican ambassador to the U.S., Geronimo Gutierrez, elaborated on the request. And it goes on, UN to establish shelters at Mexico's southern border. And that was all the feint. Now the invasion, tearing down the gates, begins. I mean, you are witnessing it. And then the footage, when they stream up the road for a mile, well over 10,000 people, and then the feed cuts. And I looked, almost no coverage in the United States of this incredibly dramatic footage. And then as soon as they get here, chip on the shoulder. What do you call it when gates are knocked down on a border with people screaming, waving their nation's flags? You call it an enemy army. But because the UN uses giant third world populations and little girls as their fronts, you're supposed to stand down and slit your family's own throat. Just like the censorship, just like all the tyranny, just like them saying Trump's getting ready to be violent to the media when they're the ones calling for violence. 18 days out, they're pulling out the stops. And Joel Gilbert, investigative journalist, best-selling documentary filmmaker, he got mailed in Spanish an absentee ballot. So it's on like Donkey Kong. And he's going to show you right now. Texas, they're busting Democrats, voting on the names of dead people everywhere or people in nursing homes. They've got databases. They mean business. They're getting indicted, but they don't care because they're a bunch of losers. And this is their victory. Their consciousness is if they could mount America's head on the wall, they could finally be somebody. And, of course, all these idiots being used by Soros and the globalists and the UN. Look at that footage. Put that on the front screen, please. It's unspeakable. And now this will be shown all over the world, and it'll be invade, 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 invade. Just like communism or globalism takes over a country, sucks it dry, then exploits it as the next domino to take over the next country. That is the doctrine of the globalists. The ultra-rich using communism and third world populations as their army. And it just goes on and 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 on. If you're a radio listener, you've got to go to Infowars.com. But more importantly, you've got to grab these live feeds and email them and text them. Did you hear America got invaded? You are now the modern Paul Revere. But instead of saying to arms, the redcoats are coming, to arms, the British are coming, waneth by land, toeth by sea, to information warfare now. They censored and made these bold moves because they're going for broke. They're going to stage the false flags. They're going to have Antifa go to members of Congress and the Supreme Court and kill their families. They'll just be the cover. You're about to see the real revolution. 100 years after the Bolshevik Revolution. 100 years after the Bolshevik Revolution, you're about to see the very same globalist bankers and their great-grandchildren making their move on America and the world. This is it. It's happening. It's real. You're seeing it happen. Oh, Mexico works for the UN. We're just going to mask this group here, and we'll work with them. And as soon as Trump says, I'm sending troops, they go, we can't mask the group anymore. We've got tens of thousands. Launch the attack. And, of course, it wasn't 2,000. It's tens of thousands and tens of thousands more with those gates blown wide open. All of it military precision. All of it carried out exactly as we knew they'd do it. All of it on Infowars.com right now. So you heard it here first, but God forbid anybody tweet it out. You might get banned on Twitter. You'll get banned later. Or Facebook. You saw the real invasion. October 19, 2018, 18 days out from the election, you saw the beginning. You saw way beyond what's happened to Europe. Because most of the migrants have to get through Turkey and other areas, and it's not totally open. But Latin America is open. One continuous land bridge straight into El Norte, and the left waiting to take them in and take hammers and chip both their shoulders and radicalize them into an anti-white ideology and lower the wages and sack the country just like Venezuela. Joining us is Joel Gilbert. Joel, I cannot hype enough that this is our darkest hour. This is the real deal. This is Soros' revenge. This is the UN's revenge. It's Juncker's revenge. It is the globalist operation writ large, and I don't know how we get people to understand how serious this is, but I will tell you, it doesn't mean I'm going to save the world myself, but we're going to the border now, and we're going to face this because this is our country under total assault.
Well, I got a big shock in the mail just 2 days ago. I get a mail-in ballot, vote by mail, vota por correo, boleta oficial, official ballot. I didn't ask for a mail-in ballot. And when you open it up, you've got a ballot that's half in Spanish. It says right here, boleta oficial. Boleta oficial, and half the thing is in Spanish. The thing is designed for Spanish speakers as well as English speakers. And I didn't ask for this. So you can imagine that they're mailing out millions and millions of these ballots all over the state, and that probably happens everywhere in the country. And this is a program that the Democrats have been pushing, is vote by mail, vote in advance. And they've been registering illegals for some time. There's a clip called, I call it Early Vote. Maybe we can show that from my There's No Place Like Utopia film.
Go ahead and roll that.
If the illegal immigrants vote.
Yes, they do vote.
They do?
Yes.
How's that possible?
Well, it's very easy. You go to these supermarkets and you see these people that are registering people to vote, and they can't even speak English. And they sign them up to register to vote. They get mail-in ballots, and then they just mail them back off. And there's no way of tracking them.
Here in Illinois, we've got early vote. And in a lot of the states, in Ohio, Florida, Nevada, and Colorado, you do it on your own time, and it's really convenient. We're recruiting and training Latino organizers. We're holding Latino voter registration drives across America. We will transform this nation.
This is it's all over the news that illegals are getting early ballots and they're voting. I mean, they finally did it.
That's it right there. All you got to do is mail it in. There's no way to track them. Imagine all these illegals, let's say 10, 15, 20 people live in a house, and they get 10 or 20 of these in the mail, and people just fill them out. There's no way to track it. So this is the way that their Democrats are manipulating the system. Imagine if you have a child in a school and they bring in 20 people that don't speak English. How's that going to work out?
Well, and we can show the footage. It's a giant Democrat voter registration drive, a giant UN-run invasion. And we either grow up and say no to it or we're done. I never thought I'd see it, but an invasion force even bigger than the insane videos we've seen out of Europe that was also UN-run, where they advertise everything's free welfare, women, housing. They mass people on the border. They blow the border open, and the UN brings you in. Tens of thousands, it's got to be tens of thousands, just crushed the border defenses in Mexico, raging forward, waving their foreign flags that they would conquer the United States. publicly run, it's in the news, by the UN. And then you have the Democratic Party saying, how dare we even have ICE? No borders, no nothing. You must open your country up. You must let us have your children. You must let us run your life. This is a 21st century takeover. And it's all over even mainstream news that everyone's being mailed in Spanish ballots that are already checked citizen. They never even asked for, that they registered in some dead person's name, that you fill out and send back. So this is the country's darkest hour. Trump was just an emergency beachhead to try to stop this, and we need that wall. We need that because the third world's collapsing. And the very UN and others that have helped exacerbate that are now organizing these poor, ignorant folks with an average, like third grade degree to come into the country. So the president must declare a national emergency. If you don't think your border collapsing is a national emergency, it is. Our southern border has already collapsed. The president has tried to stabilize it, and enemies within have tried to block it. If you don't think this is a national emergency, you're insane. And so it's under the Constitution that the president and the military control the borders. We need a good 100,000 troops on the border now. And we need to organize the county and city police with emergency funding in to get everybody involved in infrastructure, and we have to ship every single person back because this is a PR stunt, a propaganda stunt, just like Europe, to show it, and they have the UN and the Democrats shoot videos. Look at my house, look at my bitches, and I'm raping, I'm doing this. That's what the Islamists do, and everybody else sees that in the third world and comes in. They're almost all military-age men. So just as Europe, this was organized there. And the mass raping and all of it is just going to intensify. So you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the lawless hellhole scariness of the worst third world countries and the most poor people now pouring in, promised by UN propaganda and Hollywood propaganda, that this was all going to happen. And now it's here. And now it's going to happen. The carjackings, the rapes, the murders, the bombings, the collapsed countries. This is 21st century warfare. This is the attempt to take America down. This is it. Hours and hours and hours of footage of giant columns of people, bigger than what slammed into Europe, organized by Soros, because he doesn't think we have the will or the strength to say no. And he thinks that all of you just think this is entertainment. So you're not going to call talk radio. You're not going to. They'll just be like, oh, did you see the migrants? Oh, yeah. Is Trump right to build a wall? I don't know. I don't want anybody to talk bad about me. I don't really like Trump. I mean, even though you secretly do. You're crazy if you don't realize what this is. This is the Silicon Valley censorship plan. This is the globalist program. This is the assault. This is the war. This is it. It's here. 35 million illegal aliens in this country, 1 million plus illegal a year. Ellis Island, you came in 3 months to 6 months quarantine to make sure you didn't have any diseases. Meanwhile, we're told you just got to open your border. Typhus exploding, bubonic plague exploding, all sorts of other diseases. We've now got leprosy spreading again, and scabies and fleas and ticks and bed bugs. And it doesn't matter, though. Oh, I've got my Honduran flag. I've got my Guatemalan flag. I've got my Venezuelan flag. I'm going to come up there and I'm going to go to Trump rallies and wave them and say, we hate Trump and we hate America, but damn it, we love your welfare and give us everything right now. Joel Gerbert's going to take over, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm supposed to go pick my girls up from school today. I told them I'd take them to our early dinner. Oh, Daddy, please, please say you will. But they have no future if I don't stay here, do they? I mean, I need to be on the phone. I need to be calling Congress. I need to be freaking out. I need to be text messaging Tucker Carlson. This is the UN invasion of America. Everything else was a probe. You know it. You've seen it. It's outrageous. They think we're in a coma. Awaken! Realize what's happening. Realize the UN plan. Realize the UN program. Realize how they operate with giant masses of starving people they control. And they're not trying to bring them here to help them. It's cold-blooded and it's sick. So I want you to call Congress. I put the number out earlier. And I want you to call Capitol Hill. I want you to call Talk Radio. And I want you to say, go to Infowars.com, go to RT.com, go see the footage. This is almost nowhere. This is a UN invasion. It's run by the UN. The UN says they're doing it. The Democratic Party's involved. And at a certain point, it's a lot easier than just blocking that southern border to arrest Nancy Pelosi and Michael Moore and all the people saying kill Trump, arrest him, send the military in. They're the ones directing it, the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the UN, the Rockefellers. Trump ought to march the U.S. military into the UN and shut it down and kick all those traitors out of there and say, we know we're under foreign globalist attack because the UN was set up by robber barons to take over the world and take over America. The UN is done. Soros is done, or we're done. Now, you choose to side or get down on your damn knees to political correctness that doesn't mean crap. You think being censored or attacked by globalist traitors and all these yes men that don't even get power out of selling people out, they're the biggest schmuck, chump, sucker douchebags the planet ever saw and ever will see. When freedom fails, the best men rot in filthy jails, and those that try to appease are hung by those they tried to please. Good God, we're in a crisis. Government wants more people on food stamps and welfare. Venezuela's collapsing, causing a chain reaction of 7 nations to El Norte, and it's here. And even if you were a migrant that just got here and has prosperity, this will bring down your prosperity like a black hole. So everyone already here better understand you're about to watch the prosperity go bye-bye right as Trump was trying to reboot it for everybody. And I'll say it again. I'm going to up our game in the fight. We need your prayers. We need your support. We need you to thank the stations that are carrying us. I thank those stations. I thank you, listeners. And we need you to buy product at InfoWarsStore.com because they wanted to shut us down and others ahead of what's happening. But you're going to redouble your efforts, and you have. Send the links at Infowars.com of the live feeds of the War Room coming up and this live feed and the videos of this live show. We're going to archive that the UN invasion of North America and the United States has officially begun, and it's officially run by them, and this is it. We have to make this the #1 story, and Trump has to move. He said he was going to do something big on the border before. I know he's going to put 50,000 troops after the election. The UN's got spies in your administration. They've already launched the attack. America is under UN invasion. Break your conditioning. Get involved or die. Joel Gilbert, and then the War Room straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the InfoWar.
Guaranteeing your food independence is a crucial part of prepping. Between debt crisis, natural disasters, or even simple power outages, having a supply of storable meals is crucial. With InfoWars Life Select storable food, you can make sure you and your family are ready for any emergency. With drinks, snacks, and meals in amounts ranging from 72 hours to a full year, there's no better place to look for healthy, easy, and incredible meals. Including meals such as Traveler's Stew, home-style potato soup, and a variety of other meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. InfoWars Life Select storable food will help you eat comfortably in a time of need. They even work great for camping. Simply pack a 72-hour kit to go, and you have easy-to-cook and transport food for you and your loved one's trip. Don't be caught surprised by an emergency. Make sure you're stocked up today with all the food you need for an affordable price with InfoWars Life Select storable foods.